Yes, Pakistan was initially surprised by the timing of the step of abrogation of 370, but thereafter Kashmir has been such an emotive issue for Pakistan that they came up with a very strong reaction. Given the contentious history of our relationship and how Kashmir has figured as one of the core aspects of the dispute, or we've had 3 or 4 wars over Kashmir. So I would say that we cannot wish away the fact of their interest or their having a locus standi on the issue.
You see, let me first say that there was a huge shock in Pakistan when they first heard about this news of the Parliament repealing Article 370 and bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir on 5th and 6th of August. I mean, they took some time to recover from this entire episode. But after that, they have taken some very comprehensive measures, which indicates that they are having a sustained strategy to counter what India has done towards based on the constitutional propriety over these actions. For instance, the first aspect is the diplomatic offensives which Pakistan has launched, both internationally, bilaterally. They have launched in a number of ways. They are contacting various Islamic countries. They are contacting the United Nations Security Council, and most importantly, they also took the assistance of China, which is their all-weather partner, as they say. Now, let's go on to the other front. Internally, they started having these various rallies and started to provoke the people for the support of the Kashmir cause. Towards this end, Prime Minister Imran Khan has declared that every Friday we'll have a Kashmir hour. Then during that Independence Day, on 14th of August, they dedicated the whole day for the Kashmir cause. Again, for the Defense Day, they are also going to highlight the Kashmir cause. But there is also some internal opposition to this, as the Pakistani opposition is not really convinced of the government's commitment towards this end. Now, as far as the external dimension or the dimension goes, they have also activated the various terrorist groups and cells which they have been fomenting trouble in Kashmir from time to time. We have heard reports as per the military sources, which has come in the open domain, that they are the LOC launch pads of the terrorist camps is absolutely full, and won't come, in fact, is overfull, and they are going to sort of induct them as and when opportunity presents. So they are going to activate the proxy terror aspect as well. Finally, your last question was on whether they have any locus standi on the issue. As we have very clearly said, the Indian government has very clearly said that this is an internal issue, and it's not something which has any bilateral angle, because the repealing and the bifurcation has been done as per the Constitution of India, which clearly says that these are the temporary provisions.
Indian government's decision to revoke Article 370 has generated a series of reactions from Pakistan, reflecting in hate tweets, propaganda statements. They're talking to the other parts, specifically China. Imran Khan, in my mind, has competed with himself and tagging the Indian government as fascist, and also issuing a series of hate tweets. And the latest one actually talked about the danger emerging from India's nuclear weapons to the world. Pakistan started the reactions from Pakistan, which we saw started with curtailing of the diplomatic ties, suspending the Samjhauta Express train, also talking about curtailing of the trade ties, which are not significant. And then August 30th was observed, they observed the Kashmir Solidarity Hour between 12 to 12:30, whole country stood up. To my mind, that is like an extreme expression of anxiety and restlessness of the state. So if I have to talk about Pakistan's responses, I think there are 3 elements which I see and 3 trends which I see. One is there is an aggressive effort to create a new narrative in which the effort has been to project India as a state which will threaten the global peace and security, which is threatening Pakistan, and also which is kind of dangerous for the Muslims in the world. So there is a tremendous effort to create this new narrative about India, and also comparing the BJP ideology with the Nazi ideology. So that effort is there. At the second level, I see that Pakistan has waged a propaganda war, where it wants to talk about the human rights issue in Kashmir at every forum. It wants to discuss it at all the international platforms. It wants to excite the Kashmiri diaspora all across the globe. So that is the propaganda and the diplomatic war that we see from Pakistan's side. And third and very important aspect is Pakistan wants to talk about the nuclear element repeatedly and kind of make the world aware of the presence of these weapons in the region. As far as Pakistan's position is concerned on Kashmir, the locus standi on Kashmir, I don't think Pakistan has any locus standi on Kashmir. And this was very clearly mentioned by the defense minister also a few days back. Pakistan's own lawyer at the International Court of Justice, Mr. Qureshi, has said a few days back that Pakistan does not hold enough evidence in terms of what it wants to take up at International Court of Justice in Kashmir. So it does not hold the ground there, which is an embarrassing factor for Imran Khan. So Pakistan does not have a locus standi on Kashmir, and sooner Pakistan accepts this reality, I think the better it's going to be for the state and for the region.
Pakistan initially was as surprised as anybody else, and their response came in, which was initially quite a knee-jerk response, but later on they got their act together, and it seems that they have a strategy which they're working on. The strategy is that they want to wait for a failure of Indian government in Kashmir, and once that takes place, that they want to exploit. For that, at the moment, they're preparing grounds, and they're trying to flag that issue, that Kashmir remains a flashpoint. Now, this flashpoint theory is a little different from the earlier flashpoint theory. Initially, they used to connect the war with it. This time, they are trying to connect the human rights perspective into it. And they are saying that the Indian government is trying to create conditions where there will be massive human rights violations, and then it will lead to casualties. In fact, the narrative started changing from 2017 September onwards, when Burhan Wani got killed in an encounter. Now, from then onwards, the Pakistani thought process has been to project the struggle as indigenous. What happened in Pulwama was also thought through, that they had picked up a local guy who had created that vehicle-borne IED, and then they wanted to use it against a convoy to cause casualties. It is just that Lashkar-e-Toiba owned the responsibility rather too quickly. Had this not happened, it could have really passed away as an indigenous attack. Now, coming to the question of locus standi, Pakistan, if you look at it from the internal perspective, has no locus standi, because they themselves have changed the status of POK and Gilgit-Baltistan in earlier times, and they have always consistently maintained that this does not change the overall position of Jammu and Kashmir. The same logic should apply now.